You're not recording this properly, are you?
They're recording all of it, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yes, it's all recorded. But hi, and welcome to FilmarketHub Talks. My name is Rosamond, and I'm the UK manager, and it is my great pleasure today to welcome Dee Chilton, the screenwriter, and the winner of last year's FilmarketHub TV Pilot English Language Contest. Welcome, Dee. It's absolutely fantastic to have you online with us today.
Hi, and great to see you all again.
Thank you. Well, Dee, it's your journey is absolutely fascinating. You've had a really successful career in the Navy, all the way up to the position of officer, before training to become a screenwriter and also working as a military advisor to film and TV projects. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and what inspired you to become a writer?
I think it's because I've always been a visually driven person. I originally wanted to be a cinematographer when I was younger and also wanted to travel, but there wasn't much call for cinematographers in Liverpool where I grew up. So I trained in the photography side of life, but then the travel bug bit. And I was inspired to join the Navy because then I could travel for free. And I learned a lot about what makes me tick and what makes us tick whilst I was in that career. It was invaluable to screenwriting in ways that now are starting to pay fruit. Self-motivation, discipline, team dynamics, expectation management, collaboration, teamwork, battling the inner critic, overcoming adversity, rejection, all of those things that we face on a day-to-day basis were part of that career, the training and some of the jobs and some of the duties. And it was all great character building stuff, both for me and both fictional and in the real world, for my characters in the screenplays as well. I had to leave after 15 and a half years because of an injury during training, because I was carrying a telegraph pole up and down a hill and injured my knees, which is really useful on board a warship, but there you go. And then I got back into writing whilst working in digital media. I was working with photography in the drinks industry, and a character visited me and nagged at me to tell her story, as they do. But I felt compelled to try and to do it visually, because instinctively that's the way I see things. I see things in pictures. So I thought I'd better learn how to write a screenplay, and got busy learning how to do that. On my professional writing journey ever since, I've been lucky to have the support and encouragement of many super talented people, and I've also got the opportunity to collaborate and learn by doing when we brought some of those scripts to screen, which is just something I'd highly recommend. You know, it's not expensive these days. Just get out there and make something, because it just teaches you so much, but you end up with something which is, you know, it's great. And I think the thing that fascinates me about screenwriting, which is now my little guilty pleasure as well as a huge challenge, of course, is that my daydreams, which translate to little ink dots on pages, could one day create lots and lots of jobs here in the real world, but also create content that we can all be proud of, that entertains and moves people. And, you know, that's just magical to me.
Absolutely, that's amazing. Thank you. And tell us about Undercurrent, the winning pilot from last year's competition.
Well, that's a 6-part female-led crime drama, and it's set in the Navy world, funnily enough, about a Navy police special investigator assigned to lead a new team. She's handed a poison chalice case, which, you know, a hot potato nobody wants, because she's asked to close it quickly and quietly. But she's very soon convinced that this is no suicide. It's potentially part of a wider conspiracy and cover-up that hides a serial killer. And she's determined to prove herself right and to prove this murder exists. And her relentless determination and zeal brings her into conflict with her superiors. And she risks her career and puts herself in personal danger from the killer who really does exist. And I've also framed each episode around another theme which relates to modern day challenges we all face as well: racism, sexism, homophobia, rank abuse, or abuse of power, if you like, assault. And I bring it all together at the end of the first series with the storyline that provides a satisfying ending, but also leaves the door open for a continued series, because of course, why not? And the original concept behind the story was that I wanted to create a series that questions the nature of the obsession, really, and the inherent dangers of corporate blindness, and that, you know, ambition can be destructive in many ways. How far would someone go to protect that career? And what about balancing that with your relationships? I mean, these are all tough choices that we all have to make at times, right? You know, where do you draw the line? But really, I wanted to tell a story that, at its very basic heart, is about one woman's journey to stop believing the lies she's telling herself, that she's not good enough, which, you know, that's something we can all relate to too. So that's really where it all came from.
I wanted to ask you, what are your day-to-day writing habits? Do you write every day? Do you have a kind of routine that you like to stick to or try to stick to?
Well, it's always good to have a plan, because if you have a plan, this is something else you learn in the military. If you have a plan, you can deviate. Yeah, I try to write every day, but writing isn't just writing. It's research, it's reading books, it's watching other content, and that can be novels, it can be research into story, the real world stories. And the one thing I'd say is that social media is probably one distraction I can do without a lot more of still. I've tried to pull back from it a lot, because it felt like work, but it isn't real work. As you can see, there's plenty of other stuff to read. So I guess
all those books.
No, I have these two shelves. My husband has all the others.
Wow. Have you been on many screenwriting courses, or is it, you said, I mean, you're a self-taught screenwriter, so did you just learn from books, or did you go on a course, or how did you learn?
It's a huge tool bag, if you like, that I've collated from reading books, doing online courses, physical courses with script editors and other screenwriters and teachers, mentoring, had some fabulous mentoring, and not always paid for stuff. This is, you know, this is also peer reviews, and I also spent quite a lot of time also reading other people's work and feeding back, because I think that teaches, it taught me certainly things about my writing, and hopefully was helpful to those other writers, because we all need to learn to deal with notes, for sure, and opinions, and learn to deal with the note behind the note. What is it that I'm not conveying that I need to convey clearly? Because that's actually, I think, crucial, is that clarity on the page, you know, avoiding ambiguity, and showing your authentic voice and passion on that page is really important, because, you know, we all know what it's like to read something that you don't understand or feels a bit bland, but you can pick something up and it just grabs you, and that's really something to aspire to, something I certainly aspire to myself anyway. So.
Right. And well, there's a lot of script competitions out there. Why did you submit to FilmarketHub's competition? What stood out for you from all the other competitions?
Well, after I signed with my agent and my career was progressing well, I'd actually stopped submitting to competitions, because I was getting plenty of meetings, and I felt like, you know, the time had come to move on. But competitions are great for setting goals and deadlines and building reputations. And if you place, or you win, it's great to show progress and confidence in your work. And the issue is that if you don't place, it can be a demotivator, and of course it's all subjective. And then you have to weigh up the value of the prizes on offer and the true odds of winning. But I looked at this contest, and it stood out as unusual for its super high focus on exposing and championing those that place or win. And amongst the prizes were some fabulous opportunities for enhancing my industry exposure. And it felt globally inclusive to many of the contests that I have taken part in the past, because most of them tend to focus on America, whereas this seemed a lot more international, with Europe and UK at its heart as well. And all the terms and conditions were clear, the reading process, the judges, it all just looked, you know, so enticing, and it felt very specific to my needs at that time as an emerging professional. And the pilot was already doing well, but it was more acting as a writing sample than a viable project, which of course it is. But I thought, well, that exposure, it can't harm. Why not? So I thought, well, put your money where your mouth is, and submitted the script.
So some of the prizes from the competition included having your script read by the executive partners from the competition, and also being submitted to the final of FilmarketHub's UK online Pitchbox. What were your expectations after winning, and how did you prepare for Pitchbox?
I have to say it was a bit of a shock. My expectations for winning was that somebody would read my scripts, some really good people would read my scripts and we'd have a chat about them later. I had kind of ignored the Pitchbox bit a little bit. So for me, winning the contest delivered results far beyond my expectations, because I'd certainly got the promised exposure and the reads by those great companies and the feedback and the one-to-one meetings. And I'd hoped that those would lead to discussions about this series, but also that it would open up doors to other ideas for the future, which it certainly did. And then it left it down to me and my writing and other ideas as to what happened then. But the Pitchbox came as out of the blue, considering we were in lockdown and I didn't have any filmmaking or sound equipment apart from my laptop. And I realized that if we were pitching over Zoom, because this year it had to be that way, me just sitting here like this, speaking to camera, could be a little bit boring without some visual aids. So I decided I needed to make a visually engaging little segment to go in the middle of my live pitch, which proved something of a technical challenge, but huge fun, because I had some help from some great filmmaker friends and actors, as well as from you guys. And I was able to create a really good mood reel for my pitch. And that really taught me a lot as well about the whole process. But I just delivered well beyond, because now I've got that pitch as well recorded and I can still send that out if I want to. And it was just and all the people I spoke to, so supportive and really engaged with that and with me during the pitch and the meetings. So yeah,
fantastic. Had you ever sort of pitched at a live event like that before? And if not, what did you learn from this particular event in terms of how to pitch?
I hadn't pitched as such to a live event. I pitched to other writers in courses and initiatives and one-to-one meetings, or just sort of learning, networking, all that sort of thing, but not actually there, but in effect on stage. But it was just just go with the flow, learn from it, deal with it, be yourself, don't be too weird. Except, of course, you've got to be a little bit weird to be a screenwriter. But the positive feedback, throughout the whole process was just superb, and it strengthened my belief that writers need to get comfortable with this, because we're moving into an increasingly digital world. And it was a lot of fun to do, and it helped me to deliver the live segments of that pitch as well. So it's all part of the process of moving along the line towards that day when I'm up there accepting my award speech.
Love it. Fantastic. And you got to have one-on-one meetings with 8 further executives who'd attended that pitch event. What was the feedback from the executives, and what was your experience of that part of the event?
Well, each one was very different, but there were so many. I mean, I had, the 8 at that meeting, plus the ones afterwards for reading the script. So before too much to say, really, I'll be here all day. But some had already read the script when I talked to them. Some were going to read and feedback later, which they all did. Every single one of them was supportive and open and encouraging. The Pitchbox itself was kind of a little bit more focused on producer-director teams looking for co-producers and production companies and financing. So I already knew that as a writer that I was a slightly different fish in this little fish pond. But it was great to see all of their pitches and their progress too. Some great projects on there. But all around there was just huge encouragement for me and my writing, and that my ideas are worth pursuing and that they're good, and that the door's open for that and other future ideas. Because I did get the chance to, of course, to soft pitch some other ideas that I'm working on, and one of them being a new TV series, which most of them were like really keen and excited to read. So, you know, the door's open for that as well. So.
Fantastic. What is the current status of Undercurrent?
Well, I went into that meeting, which is another reason for submitting to the competition, I guess, was knowing that I just had 2 meetings with 2 massive production companies in London, and both of them said, if only we'd known of you sooner. They've just been commissioned with, unusually enough, Navy crime drama themed series. So it was a little bit sort of, you know, this happens to a lot of writers, that, you know, ideas are out there, and although mine is different and unique and is told from a genuine perspective of someone who's been in that world, it still got me to those meetings. But I just wanted to push it a little bit further and see what else we could do with it. And it's still opening doors for me now, and it's still a great writing sample, and you never know what the future holds. But within the Pitchbox, 2 development heads there were also open to the fact that if I do get a production company or producer involved, to make sure that they contact them as well, because they're still open to talking with teams. That was just a fabulous outcome all around, really.
Fantastic. What advice, Dee, would you give to emerging screenwriters? Do you have any daily habits you recommend, or any resources you like to use? Any advice you could give to other writers?
Stay off social media more, because it's such a negative downer. It's a good tool, and it's great to network, and but it can just be used as a procrastination excuse. You can kind of pretend it's research, but is it really? Just, you know, write more and protect your writing time, because, you know, time's precious, as we've all learned. But don't worry if you can't write, because everything you do is grist the mill. It impacts your ink pot, your virtual ink pot. So, you know, you've got to live life as well, and you've got to take care of those around you. And, you know, living life fills the soul and helps to clear your mind, and shows up on the page, I think. As for advice, I'm no real writer guru, and I don't hold to that. You know, opinions are a 10 a penny. I just think maybe that's the thing I'd say, is just be careful whose opinions you give too much credence to, really. A lot of the stuff out there is contradictory, and that can be really unhelpful. And yeah, for sure, some advice, direct feedback, mentoring, peer-to-peer reviews, all of that is truly helpful. And there are conventions and there are guidelines, and yes, you should be familiar with them, but they're not rules. Only you can do you. You can only write what you want to write, because you have to listen to your own gut, and that the problem is that you can allow too many outer voices to get inside your head, and that can drown out your authentic, passionate voice. And that's what makes us stand out, because that unique voice is what industry is really after. So I'd just say, you know, find your authentic voice and be confident and use it.
So I love what you were sharing about, you know, just really encouraging writers to, yes, of course, do the research, do the courses, you know, there's so much information out there, but actually at the end of the day, you've got to follow your gut. You've got to just write, and you've got to just follow your true voice, because there is so much out there that you can get distracted by in the world of screenwriting, that actually sit down and just write and trust your gut. Is, as you know, as you said yesterday, you know, unless you've got something on the page, you can't edit it. So
no, it's not. Yeah, it's just get it written. Yeah. I should take a leaf out of my own book, actually, and get this thing written. I'm still reading my psychology book. Are you? Is that one about serial killers? I've done, honestly, this is you have to get this. It's
good one.
I'm through Freud. I mean, it's not heavy. It's in really bite-sized chunks that are actually aimed at screenwriters. So you don't have to read all. This is like somebody's degree course without having to do it.
Wow.
I've had it on the shelf for years. Just couldn't bring myself to read it, because I was like, oh, I just want to write. But it's good. Things happen at the right time for the right reason, I think. You pick something up and it's the right time to get it. But if I'd have read some of this stuff years ago, I'd have been like, what? But now I get it. Oh yeah, that's
timing, isn't it? Sometimes it just, a book will speak to you, and it's for a time, and maybe for a project you're on at the time. What have you watched recently that's really stood out out to you as being outstanding writing? Have you watched anything? And there's so much good stuff out there at the moment. There has been some.
Do you mean film or telly?
Either. Is there anything?
You know, I watch so much stuff now, and it just sort of goes.
I know. But it's those ones that really, the ones that stay with you are the ones where you think, gosh, that's really kind of, when it really gets in your core, a story, and it just kind of.
I think there's a visceral physical reaction to something is quite rare, and It's a Sin hit that for me, to be fair. But there is one film that I just, it's something that pushes me to do better all the time, and it's Philomena, because I was at the London Screenwriters Festival. I'd seen the film. I was actually sat on an airplane coming back from LA, watched Philomena. That should have been name dropping, isn't it? And there's a point in the middle of that story that I actually felt a physical punch in the gut, because it was that realization moment, and it was just juxtaposed with some quite light-hearted stuff going on. Have you seen the film?
I haven't, no.
It's another good film to watch, and it's Judi Dench.
Yes, yeah.
And it was just, I'm not one of those people that cries at everything. I've got a friend who does. It's quite entertaining to watch. He'll cry at anything. But it was a physical gut punch, and I thought, that's an amazing reaction. I love the way the writer has created that manipulation of that. And it's definitely something to aspire to. But I then had the absolute honour and pleasure to stand and talk to Philomena Lee, the woman this story is based on, the real woman, and her daughter at the Screenwriters Festival for half an hour, just in a networking event. And she was just sort of in the corner. And I was introduced to her because I'm from Liverpool, and that's where she ended up after the story this film portrays. And it just taught me the if you like, the duty of care we have to our characters to make them stand out and to tell their stories, but most especially when it's actually based on a reality. What a beautiful woman who it was an honor and a privilege to meet. Like I say, she just really had forgiven everybody, and she knew, the joy that this story had brought to people, but also the importance of the story in bringing closure to a lot of families and a lot of people who'd suffered very similar outcomes and are still doing so today. So it's a fabulous film. But so many there's so much good stuff out there, and even bad stuff teaches you something. Just fine not to write like that, but you learn why. So, yeah. You're not recording this, Ruffle, are you?
They're recording all of it, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yes, it's all recorded. But well, thank you. That is no, it's been absolutely fantastic, Dee. I think you've given some absolute gems to writers there. It's really, and thank you again for all your support and for just giving your honest but really, really great feedback on the contest, because it really does make a difference to. Because I think there are so many competitions out there, and there's a lot of competition for the competitions, so it's really great to have just a personal testimony, because it means it might be the difference between one writer going, okay, I'm going to submit there, and then he or she suddenly changes and decides, actually, I'm going to go for this one. So really, really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think too many writers enter competitions that are quite a long shot. The odds are quite high. The sort of what are termed to be the screenwriting competitions to enter. You're facing thousands upon thousands of scripts, and it's so subjective that and if you place too much expectation on that not placing can be a real kick in the balls. And so I think it wasn't so much. It was also the fact that you're also competing with professional screenwriters who are entering these competitions that should really have no they've got to have an outlet for their work as well, and accomplished writers who are, I don't know, not getting work, stuff like that. But I think there are some contests that, yeah, that's that. What I think somebody counted up that 2,600 of these things or whatever competitions, and actually most of them aren't worth winning. And so, yes, you get some money, or you get some screenwriting software, or you get a course to do, or you get some membership of some thing, but none of those are actually industry facing in the real world. And so you win and you walk away. With this one, it was just, it's the add-on to, yes, there were those extra prizes, but they were extra to the real prize. And the real prize was that exposure, those open doors, those meetings, those people who are like, no, where else are you writing? That's actually what we aspire to, is to get through that phase of, well, hey, I'm not an amateur writer here anymore. I'm a professional. I'm an emerging professional. I just need the right breaks. And that's what everyone's after. But, it's in the writing, because I can't hold you responsible for the outcome of winning the contest. That's down to me and my writing and the projects I have and the other projects I go on to pitch to those people that this contest opened the door to. So I just think, it's a contest that it comes from the right place and it does the right thing. And I think, I keep saying to people, have you thought about this one? Oh, I'm going to enter this page. Well, why? I'm going to enter this. I'm going to enter this. And like, why? What do you expect to get out of it? Because if I place in this, I'll have a reputation. A reputation for winning competitions is not a reputation for being a professional writer on the verge of a breakthrough. So I think FilmarketHub offers that, and I would encourage anyone who's in the same position as me, or who is just pushing at that door and just needs to go a little bit further to get that first professional credit, that people then will give you that benefit of the doubt, because we all face the same problem. We are a financial and a reputational risk until someone says yes. So nobody's quite ready to be the first yes, but the first time you get that yes, other people are like, oh, who's this? What's this?
Yeah.
And so we're all facing that same battle. So I think thank you to you guys, because not only was the contest brilliant, the training that you did for the pitch event, the feedback and the mentoring on the actual video pitch that we did, it was all just amazing. It was so exceptional and so above and beyond what you had said you were going to provide. And I am envious of this year's winner already.
Oh, bless you.
So
well,
best of luck to you all for finding that those fellow writers to champion and to take this forward. So thanks again. Okay. Well, I hope I've given you enough waffle.
Yeah, you've been brilliant. No, you've gone above and beyond, Dee. Thank you so much. It's absolutely great.
You're welcome, and I will keep you all, and I will keep you updated on anything.
Yeah, and do look out for our other calls. I know you say your script's not ready yet, but we've started a new service this year. I don't know if you've seen the online call for projects for phonetic content in English language.
Yes, it's already gone in.
It's already gone in.
Thank you.
Yes, of course, as part of being the winning script. Yeah. So we
no, I got an invitation that I don't know which one sent it, but it was like, oh, okay, because I'd gone on, I'd looked at it, and I thought, oh, I wonder what this is. Maybe I could put the script in there. You never know. And it was like, do you want to add this? Oh, okay.
We have some. We're going to be launching those every month. Not necessarily English language ones every month, but the plan is to do it every month for English language eventually. So look out for. We've got some really exciting ones coming up, and then we've also got. UK Online Pitchbox will open soon in the coming months. So there's lots going on, and there'll be a lot more opportunities this year than last year. So we're really kind of upping our calls.
Yep, onwards and upwards.
And if you were to, what would you like your legacy as a screenwriter to be?
I think I'd just like it to be a very long time until I have to leave one, really.
Great. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Dee, so much for coming online today. It's been absolutely fabulous to have you. It's a real gem there. Thank you so much. I wish you every success with Undercurrent and all your other projects and development, and we very much hope to see you here at FilmarketHub for very long.
I'm sure. I absolutely fantastic experience and highly recommend it to anyone. You know, it truly delivers, which is something that, you know, quite often these days isn't necessarily the case. So yeah, thank you FilmarketHub, because it was just an amazing experience, and the rest is up to me. So yeah, thanks again, and thanks for this today too.
Thank you, Dee. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.